What's going on, guys? Taylor here. Thanks for tuning in to another episode with Talk with Taylor. This is episode number 4. I can't wait to get into this episode because this is a topic. The topic that I'm going to go over today is kind of near and dear to my heart. As a marketer and as somebody that really likes to advertise and do a lot of social media content, this is an area that I think a lot of people don't necessarily talk about enough. There are some people out there in the industry that I'm in the insurance industry, that do talk about it. But I think in general, this topic doesn't come up enough, I think. And obviously some people disagree with it, and there's other people that really hone in on it and do very well. And that topic is niching down. Getting a niche in your industry, whether it's a type of clientele, it's an industry, it's a product, whatever it is, but narrowing down your clientele to a specific demographic, industry, etc. I think that's really important for a lot of industries, but especially the insurance industry, because the insurance industry can be very broad. And so I think niching down, narrowing down who your clientele is really important. And I think it's a really good way to be successful in our industry. So in this episode, I'm going to kind of talk about my experiences with niching down, what kind of niches I went into, what it was like being a generalist, because I was a generalist for a very long time, and the struggles that came with that. And so I kind of want to just dive deeper into this topic. And I would love to kind of hear your feedback on this topic as well. So comment on YouTube, comment in the comments and give me some, understanding of what you're doing, what niches you're into, whether maybe you like being a generalist or not. I'd love to have that conversation, and YouTube is a great place for that. So leave some comments on your ideas and your points and your opinions on niching down. So let's get into it. So let's take it back a little bit. In my experiences in the insurance industry, back, it's been almost 10 years, 9 years ago, when I started here at Jackson & Jackson, I was sent through a producer school because I knew nothing about insurance. And so I was sent into a National Alliance producer school. It was dynamics of selling, so many other things, but it kind of got me educated on what it's like to be a salesman and what it's like to be a producer, right? And I remember day one, our teacher, Jeff, he had us pick a niche. That was the whole first couple days of our classes, was finding our niche or finding our industries and finding our expertise. Who are you going to be talking to? Because if you're talking to everyone, you're talking to no one. And that's something that I live by to this day, especially as a marketer and a social media guy. I can't talk to everyone because I'm literally talking to no one. I have no idea what to talk about if I'm talking to everyone. And so in this class, we had to find a niche. And it was really hard for me because I had no idea what I was going to go after. I knew in our agency, we had a few different areas that we wrote a lot of, but we were definitely not a niche agency. We were very much a generalist. So we had clients all over the sun, right? You had contractors, we had restaurants, we had bars, we had doctors' offices, you name it, we had it. And so going into this class, I didn't know what I wanted to go after. I had some hobbies, right? I was a musician. I was a creative. I had tattoos. So I was trying to go down this path, and my teacher was helping me find a niche. And my thought was, well, we have a lot of elevator contractors, and those were our big accounts. So I'm going to go after those. But then after doing some research, there wasn't a lot of them. So, okay, maybe not. And they're large, so they're harder to get. Right? So my teacher's like, okay, Taylor, we got to find something else. He landed on maybe try tattoo parlors or tattoo shops. You're one of the few agents in this industry that have arms full of tattoos. So maybe that could be your thing. And I was like, that's not a bad idea. So in this class, they had us develop our own applications, our own logos, our names, branding ourselves to that niche. And that was really important for him and for this class. It was to be successful, you have to find your areas of expertise. And for him, he had bars and nightclubs and a few other industries that he wrote very, very well. And he was very successful at it. He didn't write anything else other than these few industries. And so that's what he wanted us to do. And that's what he said it's going to take to be successful. So I did all that. I did tattoo shops for this class to pass the class. That was my project. And I did the tattoo industry. I developed some, supplemental applications. I got him a list of all the tattoo shops in my area. I found a few insurance company markets that would write them. So I kind of put this all together for this class. That was my project. But he was doing this so once we got out of the class, we could take all of that and just go into selling that niche. However, when I got back to my agency, I was kind of told the opposite. A lot of people in our office, including my father-in-law, was like, don't niche down. It's better to have multiple areas. And everything I kind of learned in that class about niches, I kind of pushed aside because everybody at the office was kind of disagreeing with me on this. They said, no, you don't want to do this. You don't want to do that. However, we had a producer in our office who had a really micro niche of these Eagles lodges, and I saw him just crushing it. He had one application, he knew all of his markets, and the company that he wrote with was Great American, and they loved us. They were giving us profit sharing, the marketing dollars, and giving us bonus checks and all this stuff, and I was like, wow. But here I am writing a garage, and then I'm writing a contractor, and then I'm writing a doctor's office, and then I'm writing a restaurant, and I'm struggling because I didn't know what markets to go to, what applications to use, what questions to ask, and I was no expert in any of these industries. And I felt like I was doing these clients a disservice because I didn't understand what they needed. And as an insurance professional, or what I like to call a risk advisor, I had no idea how to advise these clients because every client was something different, and it was really hard to manage. So over the years, I've been here almost 9 years. Over the years, I kind of remained a generalist just because that's kind of what I was told to do. So everything that I learned in that class, and he said, here's how you be successful, I kind of pushed all that aside, and I just kind of went after everything and anything. And I did okay. I wasn't great. I was no great expert in sales. I struggled because, again, I didn't know the markets. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what information I needed to collect. And every account I was working on was always a struggle. So once I got a little bit later on in my career, after being a generalist for majority of my career so far, I started to kind of hone in, and I was like, I need to find a few areas where I can succeed in and I can become like an expert in. You know what? Jeff was right. I need to try this again. And again, all of our agents in our office were generalists, other than this one producer, Richard. He's still with us. He did the Eagles lodges, but everybody else was a generalist. And I saw everybody kind of flailing in the same way. We didn't know what markets to go to. We had a million different wholesalers. We had a ton of different carriers, and we were just kind of scrambling to find a market in all of this. So once I started to hone in on something, right? And I tried to go down a few different industries just to see what would stick. I was like, okay, I do photography and videography. Let me try like creative people. Well, it was kind of hard to get into that. And I found that a lot of those people didn't really have a lot of money to pay for insurance. So a lot of them were just doing business without insurance. So I wrote a few of them. It was good, but that didn't really stick. And then I was like, I'm going to do contractors. But then I found 99% of insurance agents go after contractors. And so these contractors were getting hundreds of calls a week from insurance agents. So I was like, no, that's too, everybody's going after it. Nope. And so I kind of landed on recently garages in the auto repair business. I was like, I'm going to go in on this and I'm going to go full force. So I do what I do best. I created a lot of videos. I created an Instagram, a website, a YouTube page, and I'm just going after that currently. To this day, I realized we need to niche down. And as I grow the agency, and where I see the agency going in the future is more of a niche agency. And I think talking to other peers and learning from other agency owners that are kind of niching down. And when I say niching down, I don't necessarily mean one thing and one thing only, because I've seen people do that and then fail because maybe their insurance companies pulled out of that industry and now they're scrambling to try to find a new company because that's all they had. So when I say niching down as an agency, I'm saying each producer maybe has a niche or two or three, maybe, right? You have a few industries per producer. So maybe our agency as a whole maybe has 5 or 6, 10 tops industries that we focus on. And we have the carriers for that, and we have exactly what we need for that. Now, I think as a whole, scaling wise, that's going to be a huge help because as you hire service staff, as you hire people, you give them those few industries that you go after, and they know the markets, they know the applications, they know what to ask, they know how these insureds and these business owners work. it's so much less to train rather than you coming in and being a generalist going, here's the 50,000 applications, here's all the wholesalers, here's all these carriers, one's going to be a restaurant, one's going to be this, one's going to be that. So somebody coming in that doesn't really know insurance is going to be really overwhelmed with how much there actually is. So going back to my garages, I just started going in on garages. I created a landing page. I started talking to videos because I'm like, look, I'm still not your typical insurance agent. I'm not the suit and tie guy. I'm not super like clean cut, right? I got the tattoos still. I'm more rough around the edges. And so I can attract mechanics and I can attract garage owners because I don't wear the suits. I have tattoos. I wear jeans a lot. I'm more casual. And I think these garage owners, they were relating with me because they saw me as somebody maybe like a peer versus a guy in a suit trying to sell them insurance. So all these videos I was working on were very casual. I was in my garage in a t-shirt with my sunglasses on, and I was just talking to them as if we were sitting around a bonfire having a beer, right? And I was like, look, this is what you need for insurance. This is how you do it. And this is who you need to work with. And that's how I started doing these videos. Here's what you need for garage liability. Here's what you need for garage keepers insurance. These are the differences, and just educating the industry on what they need. And I barely put any effort into this in the very beginning. When I say barely any effort, I made a quick landing page on our website on the back end. And I made a few videos, and I was posting on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. I was getting a good amount of leads. The first 2-3 weeks, I was getting a lead a day, maybe a lead every other day, right? And I just started talking to these garages as if this is what I do. I'm the expert in this. And so far, it's doing very, very well. Better than I actually thought. And this kind of just is a learning experience for me now. I'm not saying I'm the expert in this, and I'm not saying I have all these niches mastered and I've gotten majority of the market share, because I don't yet, but I'm growing it and I'm really excited. And I'm seeing the success in this already. And one of my peers, he's an insurance agent as well, is doing something similar with a different industry, but he's building out niches too. And we're kind of working on this together. And we're seeing that, man, this could be really something, because too many agencies are generalists. So they're trying to be the everything to everyone. And it doesn't work that well anymore. I think with the internet now, that people look for specific things. They're going to Google garage insurance near me. And who are they going to find? They're going to find me that says, I'm the garage expert. Here's exactly what you need. And here's how you can get a quote. Wouldn't you much rather work with a guy like that than a guy that goes, hey, I can do garages and contractors and I'm the generalist, right? No, as a business owner, you want to work with somebody that understands your business. And I think that that's where we're going with the internet. Back in the day, in the yellow pages or whatever, you could get away with being the generalist and being the community guy. And I think you still can be the community guy and write all the little BOPs, or the BOPs, business owner policies, but the small little mom and pop shops around town, you could still do that. But I think to scale, I could be the national garage guy, right? And I could be that person for all garages. And that's what I'm trying to be. For my thing, as I run the agency and as I grow the agency, my little area is going to be the automotive industry, because I think that's where I'm excelling at so far. And I'm pushing my producers to find their area of expertise that they can focus on, because then we can build out other niches, not just one or two, right? And so, a lot of people, use the example of like doctors, right? You don't go to a general practitioner just does the basics, right? You can go to your family doctor, but they're going to send you to the ear, throat, nose doctor. They're going to send you to the heart doctor. They're going to send you to the chiropractor, dentist, whatever there are. Doctors specialize in things, and those are the people that make more money. The general practitioner or the family doctor isn't going to make as much as the neurologist, because the neurologist focuses on one thing, and they focus on your brain. So that's kind of where I see a lot of industries, and especially the insurance industry, that's where you want to be. You want to focus down on something and be the expert in that thing. I think it's going to create a lot less stress on your team. I think it's going to create a lot less stress in you. You're going to get a lot more referrals that way, because once you get 5 garages in the local area, they have friends that probably own a garage, and they're going to start talking, dude, Taylor's the man, right? So I think that whatever industry you go after, you're going to start getting more referrals. You're going to start people just calling you because you're the go-to guy for that thing. And I see that with the producer we have, Richard. And so it's just overall, I think, yes, it's maybe a slow start because you have to get to writing a few of them and you start to have to get to understand them and you have to kind of know what you're doing. But as I'm learning this and as I'm seeing this and as I'm growing this, it snowballs fairly quickly, especially if you go after an industry that's not really saturated with insurance, right? Garages, I do see, obviously there's a lot of agents that can write garages, but I don't see a lot of them focusing on it. So that's kind of where I win. And I think that's maybe where I'm seeing a lot of success, because I don't think a lot of people are just targeting them specifically. I think they'll write them, these agencies will write them, but I don't see a lot of them just focusing solely on that. And so that's what I'm doing. And that's where, honestly, I see the agency going in the future, is each producer has 2 or 3 niches, and that's all we have. We're going to turn away everything else, and we're just going to write what we know and what we're experts in. And that's truly my belief here. Even in personal lines, right? Personal lines, I know you can't really have an industry or anything like that. Personal lines is just home and auto, umbrella, earthquake, etc. But you could still specialize in, say, like high net worth personal lines. You don't have to be the everything to everyone for home and auto. Maybe you only write the clients that have certain limits, right? Maybe you only sell to clients that understand they have to have an umbrella. And if they don't have an umbrella, we don't write them because we see the value in umbrellas, whatever it is. But personal lines can also still kind of have a niche or narrow down your clientele, right? And Jackson & Jackson has never been the non-standard agency. We don't write 1530 limits. We don't write the basics. We write the higher limits, the people that value insurance, that want protection, not necessarily just the cheapest price. We've always said we're not always the cheapest price, but we will make sure that if you have a claim, you have enough coverage, because that's what we do best, is we properly protect you. Now, we're not selling you things that are unnecessary. We evaluate what you have, your assets, and we properly protect you. We're not going to underinsure your building because you want a cheaper price. That's just not our agency. And so that's where I mean by like niching down, especially in personal lines. Hey, we want the client that has 2 nice cars, a nice home, maybe an umbrella, an earthquake policy, and so on, and a lot of the clients that call in, or a lot of prospects or people that call in and like, hey, I just need a 1530 policy for a month because I got to register my car and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, go down the street. I'm sure there's somebody, or call Geico or whatever it is, right? And in the commercial side, I think we could do the same kind of thing, but in specific industries. And I think as a new producer, that's going to be the best way you're successful, is finding a few industries that you can focus on and learn their language and just go after them, because you're going to see a lot more success saying, hey, mechanic, or hey, garage owner, I have a special program for garages. I specialize in garages. I help garages all around California or nationwide or whatever. And I'm here to help you. And I would love to see if I can get a chance to take a look at what you currently have, because we have access to some really good programs out there. You have that conversation versus just, hey, my name's Taylor with Jackson Insurance. I'd love to, like a general statement. But if you go into the conversation with, hey, I specialize in this. This is all I do. I help garages, and we have some awesome programs for it. And I've been helping a lot of garages like yours. It's a lot more attractive sounding to the business owners, and you can help them in other areas, not just insurance too, because you start to understand their businesses, and maybe you can give them tips and tricks and so on to bettering their businesses or reducing claims or being more of a risk manager, right? So I think niching down is really, really important. And I think that's going to be a way producers or new salesmen or new people getting into the industry are going to succeed. Not being the everything to everyone, because it's really hard to do. And as I was growing, as a young producer, and Clark and Monique had me doing marketing for the agency, I found, and you'll find this too if you're doing this, it's really, really hard to create marketing pieces, social media, videos to talk to everyone. It's nearly impossible because you're going to be making a video about one thing. One video is going to be about a garage. One video is going to be about a bakery. One video is going to be about home and auto. And then one video is going to be about this. And your one video for each industry is not enough. You have to be doing 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 videos on one industry to get some attention in that industry. And so any new producer we hire, I am going to push them to find 2 industries to focus on solely. And I'm going to help them do some marketing on it. But I think if they could go with 1 or 2 industries in the beginning and go deep into it, learn everything there is to know, find the best markets for it, and get a list of all of them in town and start just dialing. That's how you're going to be more successful. And I truly believe that. And I think growing in the agency and being a generalist for the last 5-6 years, I've done both, and I see the pros and cons. And okay, cons of being a niche, you turn down a lot of business. So in the beginning, you may get a guy down the street that has a bakery that wants you to quote their insurance. And it's really hard to say no when you're new because you want to write everything under the sun because you need commission. And so being a niche agent or being, an agent that has a few niches, you have to turn away the business. You can't let that few come in. Oh, okay, I'll just write this one thing. Oh, I'll write this one contractor. It's just one. Because then all of a sudden your book of business is not that niche you were working on. So you want to make sure that you're turning down the business and only focusing on those things. Because at the end of the day, you're going to get profit sharings from the insurance companies. They're going to start giving you more commissions. They're going to help you with marketing if you write enough of them. There's so many perks and benefits to niching down and focusing on a few different industries with certain carriers, because our insurance companies benefit. Our insurance companies give us bonuses and stuff if we write so much business with them, right? And they're like, hey, well, let's keep it coming. So they're going to help you once you start writing a bunch of them. And so the more and more you write, the more and more you're going to benefit from them. So I think that's the best way to grow as maybe a small business or commercial insurance agent at this time. I truly believe it. Personal lines is a little bit different, but I've been doing commercial for 8-9 years now. And I think this is the way to do it with Google ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, YouTube ads, whatever it is. You can run ads on these specific industries. So I run YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram ads against auto garages or mechanics. And I'm specifically talking to them. Hey, you own a garage. I am here to help. And I know exactly who I'm talking to, and I know their personalities, right? A lot of them are kind of rough around the edges too. So I maybe will use shit or, hey, I am no bullshit here or whatever it is, because I know how they talk and I know how their personalities are. But if I'm talking to 50 different business owners in different industries, it's impossible to relate with them all. Because we're not going to do that because they're all different types of personalities that are in these different industries. And so that's where I've been seeing the success so far. So why am I saying all this? It's because I'm experiencing this in the moment. And this whole podcast and everything I'm doing right now is to explain what I'm working on at the moment and to document my journey and everything that I got going so far. And right now, I'm in the weeds of building out niches and seeing the success in it and why I think this is way better than being a generalist. And that's kind of why I'm talking about this. And I hope that this helps you too. So, because if you're in commercial insurance and you're a generalist, I promise you, if you find a few industries and just go deep instead of wide, you'll see a lot more success. I truly believe it because I'm doing it and seeing it myself. And I'm helping my other agents and my producers in our office do it, and they're seeing success as well. So it's not just me just saying this for the sake of saying this. I'm living it and I'm doing it at the moment. And that's what this whole podcast is about. Documenting the things I'm working on. So hopefully somebody else that may be listening to this, they're in a similar situation. So if I can share my successes and my struggles, you can maybe relate to what I'm doing, right? And I know it's all different. Everybody's different. Every agency's different. Every state's different. So this may not relate. You may not relate to this if you're in a specific state. You maybe don't have a lot of businesses like me. I have 35,000 garages in my state. if I got 5% of the market share, I'm doing very well. That may not be the situation for you. But I promise you, whatever area you focus on, find 2 or 3 and go deeper. It's better to go deeper than wider. I truly, truly believe that. So to wrap this all up, what would I do if I was a new agent? So somebody asked me, like, if you were to start over today, and you were to be a new commercial insurance agent, you just got hired as a producer, what would you do? Well, I would do a little bit of research. I'd find out certain industries that I'm interested in, who we have access to as far as insurance companies go, how many are there locally, and if you can, go nationally, right? But start locally and figure out a few industries that you want to go after and go deep. Start making content, make a couple of videos. You could just use your iPhone, make a couple of videos, post them on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, educate them on simple, frequently asked questions. What is garage liability insurance? What's the difference between garage keepers and garage liability? Why do I need workers' comp for my garage? Whatever it is, answer some frequently asked questions so you look like you have the expertise, and start calling them, sending out your YouTube channel to them, showing them that you actually focus on this, because that's going to attract these business owners to be like, man, this guy knows what he's talking about. And he's serious. This is all he does. He posts everything is this. They're way more inclined to work with you in that scenario than you just being the everything to everyone kind of guy. Because I promise you, yes, you will write business. But as you scale, you'll realize your book of business is just a ton of different stuff, and it's going to get really stressful because all of a sudden you got to put all these different hats on, right? You got to be like, oh, I got to be the bakery hat guy today. Oh, I got to be the construction guy today. Oh, I got to do this. And I'm doing it still because my book still has a lot of those. And our book in the agency has a lot of just different industries, right? And it could get a lot, and it could get stressful, and it could get hard. So if I was a new producer, I would find a good couple industries, find the markets for it, find who we have a lot of locally, and just go deep. Make the content about it, be the expert in that. Educate yourself in all the coverages they need. So when you talk to them, you know exactly what you're looking at and what questions to ask. You have your applications made. Maybe it's just one application for all carriers, right? For that industry. So now you got one application to fill out, and you know exactly what to ask every time they call in. You're going to look like the expert no matter what. When I get a lot of different industries calling, I feel like an amateur because I don't know what to ask, what applications I need, what carriers are going to be the best for this. And that's when I start feeling like I'm doing them a disservice because I don't necessarily know the best market for them, or I don't know exactly what I need to get from them. And so it takes me longer to get the quotes, which means it takes them longer to buy insurance. And then normally if you take too long, they're going to go elsewhere, right? So with the internet nowadays, with ChatGPT, use ChatGPT to help you build out your niche. That's what I'm doing, and I'm doing that for my producers, and it's amazing. So again, niching down is really a good thing. And I think that if you are starting out, or even if you're not starting out and you've been a generalist for 5 years, start now. Pick a couple industries and go deep. That's going to be my motto. Don't go wide, go deep, right? And so narrow down. And I'm seeing that with a lot of agencies right now. We're talking to I'm in these mastermind groups, and I talk to other agencies and I talk to other agency owners, and it seems like more and more of them are just niching down into certain areas. And maybe it's a product. Hey, focus solely on workers' comp, or I only do cyber liability, or I only do this. And then you could kind of cross-sell them later. The only thing with that is if I only did cyber, somebody else has their GL and other lines of insurance, and that cyber can get taken away. So you would almost have to eventually write the GL and the comp, because now you got multiple agents working on the same account. So you don't really want that. But if you could be the go-to guy for a certain industry and write all the lines of insurance for that business, you're going to kill it. I promise you. So yeah. That's just a little bit about what's going on for me right now, and where I'm seeing successes and struggles is being a niche versus a generalist. You can agree, you can disagree. That's okay. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on it, and maybe share with me your successes. Are you niching down? Are you focusing on solely a few industries? Is your agency niche agency? I would love to know, because I want to talk to other people that are doing this. to see how they're succeeding in that, because as I grow and as I learn, I love talking to other agencies to see where they're thriving. And from what I've been hearing, the niching down is a good place where I see these agents succeeding. So yeah, that's all I got for today, guys. I hope this helped. I hope that, you listen to this and maybe it inspires you to find a niche if you don't already have one. Or maybe it's just, it's, what's the word? This just kind of reiterates that you're doing something right. If you are niching down and you're kind of questioning, should I be more of a generalist? No, do not. Do not go backwards. Going from a niche producer or niche agency to back to a generalist, I'm telling you right now, it's going to water down the industries that you're in. So go after a couple industries, do it well, and succeed. That's all I got for you guys today. Thanks again for listening. Please comment down below what you think about this. Subscribe. Leave us a review on the podcast apps, Apple Podcasts. Leave us a review and let me know what you think about this show, and think about Talk with Taylor, and give me some ideas on what else to talk about. I would love to kind of share my experiences and what I'm doing, because that's why I'm here. I'm documenting my journey as I go along this insurance journey of working at an agency, running an agency, and then hopefully one day owning the agency. And you'll kind of see as I progress. And again, I'll share all the stuff. I'll share my struggles. I'll share my successes. I'll share the good, the bad, and the ugly. So again, thanks for watching, guys, or thanks for listening, watching, whatever you're doing. Thank you again. And we'll catch you in the next episode.